Hello and welcome to Innov'Nation. I'm your host, Lynn Plachmeijer, and thank you for joining. Now, as the planet heats up, the race for solutions is accelerating. And today, we're spotlighting the innovations tackling the climate challenge head on. First, our headlines. From startups to global impact, Israel's environmental tech scene is on fire. We'll break it down with an expert in studio. An Israeli company is tackling the water crisis by turning air into drinking water. We went to see it for ourselves. And grotesque memes are fueling a new wave of crypto hype, and investors are paying the price. Now, Israel is turning heads in the environmental tech world. From turning trash into reusable materials to pioneering green hydrogen, its startups are using patents and cutting-edge science to take homegrown innovations from the lab to global markets, proving that even a small country can make a big impact on the fight against climate change. So for more, I'm now joined by Gilad Tauber, partner and patent attorney of the Reinhold Cohn Group. So, Gilad, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's dive right in because climate tech, I can imagine sometimes it's kind of dry. It can be difficult to understand. So how do we explain this huge challenge we have ahead of us to the people that are in charge?
So looking at Israel, we started because we had no option. We live in a country that has some food and water scarcity, and we had to start with something. So we started with drip irrigation, improving our agriculture needs, and continued from that to something that became from survival to the startup nation. From the drip irrigation to tomatoes having long shelf life years ago, we improved our agriculture and climate tech technologies to basically use whatever we have and turn it into surplus in some cases. Our current situation with water is water surplus out of a desert, allowing us to provide water to our neighbors like Jordan and making it a bridge for regional stability.
So why do you think Israel is the right place to do all these groundbreaking technologies?
Well, we have a lot of people who have been trained in bringing new ideas, and what we call the Israeli chutzpah, which is a known word, I hear it all over the place, of trying new things. And even if you think that something might not work, you should try it. Coming from improving agriculture and obtaining more produce from the same region, from the same land. We have clients who use AI to identify exact time to pollinate your flowers in order to get more fruits from your field. We have clients who use paint that utilizes solar energy to cool down your house instead of heating it. We have clients who print meat, print vegetable materials to provide meat-like products that has the right texture that you expect. And we have clients that improve the efficiency of solar fields to obtain more energy from the sun by avoiding shading and during different periods of time. The evolution is going on, and from the survival nation that we had to start many, many years ago, we are now at a position of bringing up the ideas and making it efficient where anything else could work.
Right. So how do you explain then, because the funding in climate tech in Israel has dropped in 2024. So how do you explain this, and how can we move forward from this?
So we see a correction in the entire world between 2023 and 2024. We can see that the funding in Israel for the startup companies went back up to about $15 billion during 2025. We do need to regain international trust, but we still see international investor participating in funding of Israeli company nonstop. And the Israeli high-tech sector keep growing, and we're expecting a lot of new ideas from people who sat in the same place during the past 2 years, meeting other people, bringing up new ideas that will come to be the new inventions in climate and other technologies.
Very exciting. We can't wait to see what happens next here in Israel. Thank you so much, Gilad Tauber, partner and patent attorney at the Reinhold Cohn Group. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Now on to a concrete example, because a climate tech innovation that could change the lives of 2 billion people. It is estimated that a quarter of the world's population does not have access to drinking water. But the solution may lie here in Israel, in the offices of WaterGen. The company has found a way to transform the air we breathe into drinking water. So host and correspondent of our French channel, Christopher Barolin, went to see it for himself.
As you know, the air we breathe contains H2O, also known as water, making up just under 4% of the total air. But what if we could turn that water, the humidity in the air around us, into drinking water? That's exactly what's happening in Petach Tikva, close to Tel Aviv, thanks to WaterGen. The Israeli company welcomed us to its offices to explain how the technology works. Our visit begins on the rooftops of Petach Tikva. So this is just one of the machines that transforms the air in Petach Tikva into water?
Exactly, not just any water. Thanks to our technology, we can produce a large amount of water using very little electricity, and the water is high quality. Mineralized water, because we mineralize it ourselves.
How many liters can this type of machine produce?
This machine can generate up to 1,000 liters of water per day, depending on weather conditions. That's enough to provide mineral water for the entire 6-story building and all of our employees.
And this type of machine can be installed anywhere, not just on rooftops?
Of course, it can be installed anywhere. Today, we have a commercial presence in over 90 countries. Projects like this one, on many buildings in Israel, help promote sustainability by reducing plastic use, and they give employees access to better quality water.
I understand you also have machines in China, where the air is inevitably more polluted than here in Israel. How can you ensure that the water remains safe and high quality in polluted air, whether in urban centers like Petach Tikva or even more polluted areas in China?
It's important to know that WaterGen has been developing these machines for the past 10 years. We hold many patents for air filtration as well as our filtration capsules, which allow us to produce water of exceptionally high quality. When we founded the company, we installed our machines in some of the world's most polluted areas, without naming specific countries, of course, and had the water tested by external laboratories every month. What makes this technology extraordinary is that water remains pure and mineral-rich at all times.
The 2 machines on the rooftops of Petach Tikva can produce between 1,000 and 6,000 litres of water per day. 1,000 litres is roughly the amount one person uses in 4 to 5 days, while 6,000 litres is enough for one family of 4 for about a week. The water can be consumed directly from a tap on the rooftop or from inside the offices. The water here is Petach Tikva water.
Exactly, that's an important point. Today, many countries want their national water. It's a source of pride. Countries can brand and market our bottles with water from different regions. So we provide a solution not only for governments to foster national pride, but also for water sources and partners who want to bottle their own water.
And the water tastes incredibly pure. This technology was WaterGen's first innovation, but the Israeli company has since developed other machines that can also turn the ambient air of a room into drinking water, just like the ones in WaterGen's offices. So how does the technology work? It's surprisingly simple.
We draw air into our machines, clean it with our WaterGen filters, and then pass it through our technology, which produces large amount of water using very little electricity. The water is safe to drink. Then it goes through filtration and mineralization. What you just tasted came from the exact same process.
Like any innovation, there's a story behind it.
The company was founded by Dr. Michael Murashvili, a well-known businessman who discovered this small technology, initially acquired by a large corporation for air drying purposes, and then realized its potential for producing drinking water.
Today, WaterGen has developed machines that could be deployed in humanitarian zones affected by drought, disasters, or conflict.
We deploy these machines on trailers powered by generators or solar panels. They can be connected to cars, large trucks, and other vehicles, allowing for rapid deployment to provide water to affected populations.
How many litres of water can they produce?
Up to 220 litres per day.
To put it in perspective, 220 litres of water per day is roughly equivalent to 145 bottles of water. Once in disaster zones, these machines can be deployed and fully operational in under 30 minutes. WaterGen has sent these machines all over the world, after hurricanes in the United States and to humanitarian zones in South Asia. These are projects that make a real difference and leave a lasting impact.
Take the one in Kenya, for example, a village of women who have endured extremely difficult circumstances. People there used to walk 30 to 40 kilometers each day to fetch unsafe water, which caused illness and kept children from attending school. Now, they have systems that can generate water continuously, so they no longer have to worry about access to safe water. You can imagine the impact this has on a small village, a community, even a country. It's truly extraordinary to witness.
WaterGen's latest product, less humanitarian but equally fascinating, is a bottle of water produced in the United Arab Emirates. The UAE has partnered with WaterGen to market water branded with the country's colours made from local air. Projects like this continue to drive WaterGen and will carry on into 2026.
Now, Israel's thriving startup ecosystem is making waves globally, including in sustainability. Last year, a reported 60% of Israeli startups are developing advanced decarbonization technologies, even outside traditional green industries. Now, the global push to cut emissions is driving the search for cleaner fuels, and hydrogen is emerging as one of the most promising solutions, though making it affordable and scalable remains a major challenge. So for more on this, I'm now joined by Gilad Lando, CEO of Katamon. Thank you so much for being with us today. You have developed a groundbreaking product to make hydrogen affordable, but let's go to the problem first. So can you please explain to us what the problem is you are trying to solve?
So hydrogen is actually a great solution because when it reacts with oxygen, it produces water and energy. So there's nothing bad there. But the problem is with the hydrogen is like the elephant in the room. When you want 1 kilogram of hydrogen, the volume that it takes is like a major elephant. So you need to convert it into something else in order to ship it or store it. And today, most of the companies will produce from hydrogen a new molecule that is called ammonia. And then afterwards, they will convert it back. After shipping it to another place, they will convert it back into hydrogen, and then they will use it for energy. But this is very problematic. There are too many stages. It's very expensive. Every stage is very expensive and takes a lot of energy. So what we developed is an aid called catalyst. Everybody uses catalyst. It is very important, but our catalyst is extremely potent. It's based on ceramics, no rare metals. And because of that, it's affordable and yet very potent. So we can do these stages very cost effectively and without almost any energy.
So why do you, how do you place yourself in the market? How are the costs right now? Are you already competing like with fossil fuels, or how does it work?
So today, hydrogen cannot compete with fuels because it is about 3 times more expensive. But our solution can reduce it to be slightly more expensive than fuels. And this is a major change because think about it. You go to the grocery and you want to buy tomatoes. If the tomato is 10% more expensive, you say, okay, I will do it for the environment. But if it's 3 times, then you say, okay, I don't care about the environment.
Yeah.
And this is exactly where we are aiming to change that. And we can change it from both sides, which is a lot for a young startup.
That's true. So if you have the hydrogen, where do you get it from? You get it from desert solar panels?
So there are a few ways to get hydrogen, but if you want it to be green, then you want to produce it by solar panels.
Okay.
It's the most green way to do it.
And if we're looking at, for instance, the European continent now really is dependent on, for instance, Russian gas, Russian oil, and they want to get rid of it. So there's a major push for hydrogen to become common ground in the next few years, we hope. So how do you see this evolving?
So the barrier was the cost. Let's say that you produce the hydrogen in the deserts of Arabia, in the Middle East. They have a lot of solar agriculture. So then you can convert it into ammonia, send it to Europe, and then Europe can use it as a source of energy instead of the Russian gas.
A very exciting product you are developing here. Thank you so much, Gilad Lando, CEO of Katamon. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Now, chip giant NVIDIA is in the market to buy an Israeli startup we've talked to on an earlier show, AI-21 Labs. Even though the Israeli company hasn't commented, reports are saying that the advanced talks on the purchase are based around a number of $3 billion. So for more, I'm now joined by host and correspondent Nicole Tzedek to break it down. Nicole, what more can you tell us?
Well, Lynn, as you mentioned, AI-21 Labs, we did reach out to them to see if there is any truth to this report. No comment from them yet, but if this report is true, this is huge. Many of our viewers will likely remember AI-21 Labs from one of your past episodes. This is an Israeli company that specializes in natural language processing and generative AI. I have to say, Lynn, in 2023, funding round, they estimated the value for AI-21 Labs at $1.4 billion. And NVIDIA and Google both participated in that funding round. So what we're seeing now, according to this report, is NVIDIA wants to expand its partnership and actually acquire for maybe some $3 billion AI-21 Labs. And really what this means is it shows big picture, NVIDIA truly investing in Israel. We have to remember it was just recently that NVIDIA announced a multi-billion shekel research and development campus in the works in northern Israel. This is going to be a tech hub with some 10,000 employees. NVIDIA is basically considering Israel its second home outside of California. And especially how AI-21 Labs plays into this is actually their workforce. According to this report, what NVIDIA values in AI-21 Labs, besides its amazing capabilities in the company itself, it's actually the workers, some 200 employees, most of them with advanced degrees and an expertise in artificial intelligence development. This is an expertise and the minds that many of these other companies don't have. So it's not just about the companies, it's about the minds that they would be acquiring as well. I also have to add, Lynn, when we look at the big picture here, $3 billion acquisition, it might sound huge, but this is on trend with what we're seeing here in Israel. The Israeli tech market for exits, which is mergers, acquisitions, public offerings of shares, they recorded one of the best years in a decade. Yes, that's despite the war in Gaza, Iran, the multi-front war that Israel has been facing. The tech exits are booming. The value of Israeli tech exits jumped by 340%. Yes, I want to say that again, 340%. Nearly $59 billion in 2025. You know what it was in 2024? $13.4 billion. So we're seeing a huge increase here, and we're seeing a lot of these outside companies want to get involved with Israeli companies. And so big picture here, it truly does show NVIDIA expanding its grasp, not just in Israel, but with some of these Israeli companies.
Israeli companies truly making waves globally. Thank you, Nicole, for breaking that down for us. Now, you may have seen your social media feed flooded with offensive memes about people like George Floyd and Charlie Kirk. But if you look beneath the surface, these memes might actually be fronts for something even worse: cryptocurrency fraud. Joe Brown reports.
People are creating AI-generated memes of an android George Floyd to promote cryptocurrency scams. I'm aware that sentence sounds a little bit insane, so let me break it down for you. Creating a cryptocurrency can take only 5 minutes using an existing blockchain, which is a system that records transactions. You just need a snazzy name like Lincoin, a picture, supply limit, and bingo, you have created a new crypto token. Because it's so easy, tens of thousands of people have created their own. But how can you make yours stand out from the crowd? The answer? Make it go viral. Turning a meme into what's known as a meme coin isn't new. The most famous is Dogecoin, a favorite of Elon Musk, that has at times come close to matching the dollar. But most don't get anywhere near. However, they can be very lucrative for a few people. Let's say I want to make money off of Lincoin. Since I created it, I can set the supply and buy as many Lincoins as I want at its lowest value. I can then post about it online, get other people to invest in it, and raise the value by a tenfold. And then, when the price of the token is at its peak, I can pull the rug from people, selling my nonsense shares for 10 times its value, screwing over other investors but making me a fortune. This is called pump and dump. I pump the token with value and then dump it for profit. Do you remember this girl?
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk and spit on that thing.
Her 15 minutes of fame crashed and burned due to a pump and dump scheme called the Hawk Tour coin, which she denies any involvement in. If you're thinking, hang on a second, that sounds a little bit illegal, that's because it is. But as crypto is a relatively new market, it's very hard to regulate, thus, it's hard to prosecute. Now, as I said in the beginning, there are memes of George Floyd as an android called George Droid, which are flooding through TikTok. The content of these videos are too offensive for me to say on air, but he is being used to promote a crypto coin called Floyd AI for people who love the meme and want to maintain its longevity. In the George Droid universe exists Kirkinator, a Charlie Kirk avatar mixed with the Terminator, which also has its own crypto coin, alongside offensive AI memes. The shock value of these memes are helping their virality, with rewards from social media algorithms making the coin creators quite a bit of money. Nothing is suggesting that these are pump and dump schemes, but the lack of transparency with these and other meme coins is very, very dangerous. And what it does show is by making these offensive memes for the purpose of virality, you can put yourself in a position to carry out wide-scale fraud with the protection of anonymity. The easy accessibility of AI and crypto creation means that the Kirkinator and George Droid are just the beginning, and without proper regulation, who knows how it will end.
Lincoin, thank you very much, Joe Brown, for giving me an idea to commit crypto fraud. So from crypto scams to global tech news, I'm now joined by Jody Netelowitz, who will take us to the nooks and crannies of all the latest. So Jody, let's start with a Christmas gift that has left people rattled.
Yes, so people were getting these football-themed quiz books, and they were finding that many of the answers and the questions were just bizarre or plain wrong. It almost seemed like maybe it was written by AI. And granted, they were only selling for about £5, but you would think in a quiz book, the answers would be correct. So it really puts it into perspective about what we can trust and what's out there, especially things that are created using AI.
So the quiz books were about like Man United, or it was like niche?
Niche football topics, mostly British stuff, but they were wrong.
They were wrong.
They were
okay.
just wrong.
Wow, so it's very easy to commit fraud
Yes,
via AI, we are learning today. Then on to Venezuela, because even though despite all the news of last week, apparently Trump didn't attack Caracas.
Yes, according to ChatGPT, who has clearly not been reading any of the headlines or the news articles, it did not happen. It also doubled down on this, saying that if you saw a headline, video, or post claiming otherwise, it was either misinformation, satire, or speculation. And that's a big deal because a lot of people rely on these chatbots for all of their information. So it's showing us that we really need to double check and not just rely on one source of information for our news, and especially for history and these really big, important events.
So at least our job is safe for now. So that's
Yes.
the good news. But it's weird though, because it's strange that despite like all the reports that ChatGPT just didn't pick up on it and just said it never occurred. How is that possible?
Not at all. And it's kind of reshaping our historical events and our understanding of them, if you think about it.
Amazing. Okay, so trust us, not ChatGPT
Yes.
for now, at least. Also, from Donald Trump to Elon Musk, also a person which gives us never a dull moment, because his chatbot Grok is acting up again. So why this time?
Yes, not that funny, this one. Grok is facing criticism for sexualizing images of women and children in its content. Several examples of this on X were found where women found that pictures of them had been turned into nudes. Their clothing was removed digitally, and they were put in sexual situations. One interview with a woman said that she felt dehumanized and reduced into a sexual stereotype when Grok was used to digitally remove her clothes. Brock said they're working on it and they're putting in safeguards to fix this, but it sparked a fierce debate about ethics in AI. How do we ensure that this technology and the creators are being responsible and taking into account what they produce?
So even the kids were stripped naked of their
even
clothes?
Children.
Wow, crazy. Yeah, I can imagine that's very dehumanizing for anyone who's using that chatbot.
And probably illegal.
And yes, probably, yes, good point. It's illegal as well. All right, Jody Natelevitz, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all we have time for today. I'm your host, Lynn Plagmeijer. Join us next week for a brand new episode of Innov'Nation. For now, thank you very much for watching and have a great day wherever you are from Tel Aviv.